Hello and welcome all of you out there, dear astrology friends. This is the video with me, Veerle, and it's a video about November, the November horoscope. So there are two main things I want to talk about as a collective during the month of November. And then each and every sign of the 12 signs, I'm going to talk about these two things in specific. So I want these videos to be precise, concise, and to the getting into business, because the two things I want to talk about, I also talk about them quite in depth in other videos. So first of all, November, we have a retrograde. We have a retrograde going on with Mercury in Sagittarius, and it's going backwards at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So let me explain what it means, but first the details. So it will be already in its shadow. So the shadow period already starts very early on. And it starts at 7th of November at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So already in the beginning, after the first week of November, shadow period. So we feel it that, okay, the retrograde, it starts now. Or the period. Then the shadow period ends at the 3rd of January of 2025. So you see that pocket of time, and that's at 22 degrees of Sagittarius, is actually the retrograde, what we call the retrograde period. I will explain all in depth in another video, I think next week, when I'm going to do, or maybe a bit earlier, when I'm going to do the Mercury retrograde video. Now, so retrograde starts on you could say the 27th, so the retrograde in itself, I mean, when really we have the Mercury going into, up until 22 degrees of Sagittarius, that will be on the 27th of November. But again, it's a building up throughout the whole month that we're going to feel that Mercury slows down. So we are reassessing something in our minds, in our communication. And the direct move is again on the 16th of December. So these are, like, in a nutshell, the details. But what does it mean to have that retrograde there? Well, first of all, we know we have to reassess something on a communicative level. But on another side, it is in Sagittarius, so it's got to be it's got to have to do something with our belief systems. So there is a belief system where that Mercury transits in your chart, we're going to have a look at it in a minute, that is not working well. That is not working optimal, let's put it that way. And in that area of your life, there will come up situations, challenges, so that you do rethink that area of your life in a way that has to do with belief system. And of course, then that is associated, Sagittarius, with the 9th house, which is, of course, a very important house, because what you believe, you kind of create. If I believe that, for instance, a certain situation always happen to me, let's say I believe that men always take advantage of me. Let's say I believe that. That's in my belief system. I don't believe that, by the way. But anyway, let's just pretend, right? And when you believe that, you're going to attract situations in your life so that your belief system is like, you see, it's happening. So you kind of attract these men on an energetic level, on a subconscious level. So belief systems are very important. And of course, it's about fake it till you make it. So if you have that belief system, like, or for instance, I'm always single, I'll never attract a man in my life anymore, or a woman in my life anymore. That is also a belief system. Who says it's correct? Who says? So it's about questioning that. And the thing is, in Sagittarius is known to be a wiseacre. And why is that? Because they know a lot. It's true. The Sagittarians, when you have a sun there, a moon, a rising sign, or maybe a Venus or a Mars, or a Mercury, definitely a Mercury, they kind of know best. They have a lot of wisdom. of course, they don't know everything, but they have a very firm kind of belief system, and they can be it's a fire sign, Sagittarius, so they can be very fired up about it and then try to message that to someone else. That's typical, Mercury in Sagittarius is a teacher. It's the one that has something to say and wants to turn around your belief system. Right? So it has a lot to do with that. And you could say, oh, but Veerle, that's boring. It's not about relationships. It's not about my job. But this is the start. This is where it all starts. And it's, they say in astrology, the 9th house in Sagittarius, it's the road to God. It's the belief system that we put into our heads purposefully and with a purpose. And so fake it till you make it. I mean, like, you can, let's say you want to attract a relationship in your life and your belief system is, I'm too ugly. You can do two things. You can work on your physics and, work out and whatever. Or you can say, hey, and turn around that belief system. And of course, saying in the mirror, like, I'm going to attract someone, I'm beautiful. Maybe in the beginning, you're not going to believe it, but as you repeat it, you will in a certain way. So this is a very strong Mercury retrograde. Is it an easy one? Not at all. Not at all. Why? Because Mercury is normally it's the ruler of Gemini and Virgo. So Virgo, Gemini, that's typically the ruler of Virgo is about the detail. And I want to know the little things in detail. But of course, the sign of Sagittarius is seeing things broad. So we will have to use Mercury in an it's not a bad Mercury, but it's a Mercury that we have to use in an alternative way so that we kind of do the helicopter way. So all of us, we are going to be in November, most of us, to when we are driving in our cars and we are having a traffic jam, it's about figuratively rising out of your car like a helicopter and looking how far that traffic jam is. Is it a mile? Is it 10 miles? Is it just a couple of meters? Whatever. So that's what is being asked of us. It's not only to rise above ourselves and see things in a bigger perspective, it's also about turning around the belief system, which is what most people don't do. Most people, they believe something and they are rigid. But we are asked now to be a little bit more flexible. It's a mutable sign. So it's not an easy thing at all. Another thing that's not easy is that this retrograde is squaring up Saturn 3 times and opposing its own ruler, Jupiter, 3 times. So we're going to have that tension of the Jupiter-Saturn square that Mercury will be involved in. What does it mean in a nutshell? We want to grow, but we don't want to grow. We want to expand, but we want to stay the same. We want to see more, we want to experience more, but we're afraid. We want to keep the control. We don't trust. That's the energy. Now, what to do? It is to do this slowly and surely. Check out the video about Jupiter or some videos about Jupiter that I made or about Saturn. I explained that in depth. Or the yearly horoscope. I also explained that Jupiter-Saturn square, which is very, very important and is again full in December. So we're going to feel that square coming up again in our lives. So we have to look a little bit more broader, and challenge our belief systems, which of course the ego, if we have a big ego, we don't want to do that. And then Mercury squaring up to Saturn 3 times. I'm going to give you the dates. It's going to happen exact on the 12th of November at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. 12th of November, 12 degrees of Sagittarius. Then another time on the 7th of December, Mercury squaring Saturn at 13 degrees of Sagittarius and Saturn, of course, in Pisces still. And then the third time on 27th, 28th of December, we're going to have Mercury square Saturn at 14 degrees of Sagittarius to Pisces. So what does that mean? Well, it means Mercury squaring Saturn, seriousness, serious conversation, deep conversations. We're going to have that. We're going to have very deep conversations. And there's a lot of retrogrades, of course, coming up also in December, we're going to have the Mars retrograde going on. So a lot of things that we need to review. That is not, and you know, we can do two things. We can resist it and say, no, I want everything to stay the same. Or we can listen to the universe, put our ego a little bit aside and our strong will, for those of us who have a strong will, we could put it a little bit aside and just try out this challenge and just give it the benefit of the doubt and look into that broader perspective. Now, when Mercury opposes Jupiter also 3 times, it's about, I see it. I see the detail. And I also see the bigger picture. And I see so much that I'm a bit, I don't know what I'm seeing. That's Mercury opposite Jupiter in a nutshell. And that's going to happen also 3 times on the 18th of November at 18 degrees of Sagittarius, opposing Jupiter at 18 degrees of Gemini. The 4th of December at 17 degrees. And the 27th of December at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. So you see, in a nutshell, this is not the easiest Mercury retrograde. We're going to go like this way, and then the next week or the next day, we could go that way. Expect that kind of energy, mutable energy. What do you need with that? Flexibility. So do some yoga, everyone. Do some yoga, do some dancing. No, flexibility very much. So when we say A, you can be pretty sure that you can be saying B next week. That's the energy. But again, it has a purpose. It's investigation. It's gathering wisdom. It's gathering information, sometimes too much, sometimes too little. And but you can be sure of that in that area of life, after this whole retrograde period, around the 3rd of January of 2025, we will know. We will know. So it's a good timing for the new year, isn't it? That around the 3rd of January, we're gonna know, like, this is what it's all about. This is what we're gonna do. I've thought about this really, really in big perspective. So absolutely a very interesting retrograde. What is the other thing that I'm gonna look at is, of course, what I've been talking about in October and the last video of the Mars retrograde. Check that out, that video. And definitely the Mars Pluto that I made yesterday, that video. It's still Mars opposing Pluto. Especially the first week of November, we're going to have Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. And it's going to be exact round about the 20. No, what am I saying? It's going to be exact. There's so much. There's so much that I've written down here. The book. People ask me about the book. It's not the book. It's a notebook. It's a notebook. And it says the power of nature. Look at that. Isn't that a message? The power of nature. Talking about Pluto is definitely talking about nature and the power of that is so strong. So we're going to have the first week Mars opposing Pluto. That's it, right? And I'm going to tell you when that is going to be exact, on the 3rd of November. Now, so that's at the very end of Mars in Cancer. It's that first week, Mars opposing Pluto. If you want to know about that, check the last video of Mars-Pluto aspect. So Mars-Pluto in the chart, or Mars-Pluto, I think the title is. It's all about doing things with good intentions, with thinking about your intention before you do. And it's also about doing something that you might have been very afraid of, to take back your power. And it's about not manipulating, not doing things that you walk all over other people. So it's about that, the darkness of Mars in opposite Pluto, which is a bit like Mars in Scorpio. So you don't want to go to the darker side, because it's kind of goes back to you like a boomerang, because it's Pluto. It's the shadow. So the shadow and of our actions. It's the intention, you know. If you got to do something, I'm going to do that for you, for instance, like the challenging or the negative side and the dark side of Mars Pluto. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to fix your house. You know, Mars in Cancer, going to fix your house. And you think, oh my goodness, this person, this friend or whatever, they're going to fix my house. This is fantastic. But then when they done that, you feel like an emotional manipulation that you have to do something in return. It's like, Mars in Cancer, opposite Pluto, they're very good at emotional manipulation. Mars in Cancer, that sign. So you might feel that you have to do something in return. So it wasn't in the first place done in a very clear way. It was not out of love, it was out of control and manipulation, right? So that's what this is all about. Now, this Mars in the first house, we're going to have that in Cancer, the first week, but then it's going to jump into Leo. On the 7th of November, or the 5th of November, on the 5th of November already, Mars gets into Leo. And it stays there for the whole month of November up until like 6 degrees of Leo, 5 degrees of Leo. So from 0 to 5 degrees, that's very slow, isn't it? Because it's preparing itself for its retrograde in December, in the beginning, at 6 degrees of Leo. And so that will be later on in December. But those 5 degrees of Leo, what is that all about? When Mars enters Leo, I'm going to look at that as well, because that's a different area of life. So let's get into this. For Aries, this retrograde Mercury is in your 9th house. So you are absolutely changing your belief system. So for you, it's a lot about mental activity, a lot of belief systems of yours not working for you anymore. Question them, be open, because the more you will take advantage of this. You could be Mercury retrograde in the 9th house, can also mean travel, or you're traveling back to a country that you already traveled around. It can also mean a study that you're going to redo, a script or a book that you're going to rewrite. That is also possible. What else is possible? That you're going to redo maybe your website or something like that. The 9th house, it's about international affairs. So very interesting. Now, Mars in your 4th house, where it makes that opposition. So remember your intentions about your house. Do it with love. Do it with, not with fear and control, but do it with love, whatever the decision is that you're going to do around maybe fixing a home or moving or renovating or just working. For a lot of people, Mars in the 4th house, this is about work. Could also mean like relationships with parents. There could be like some power struggles going on there. Now, on the 5th of November, it shifts into your 5th house, which is going to be amazing for you because you're an Aries, and that trines the energy of the 5th house. Mars in the 5th house is putting lots of energy. So from the 5th November until the end of the month, lots of enjoyable energy for you, because Mars is you, it's your ruler. It's if you have kids, to actively play with your kids, for instance, or sexuality as well can flourish with Mars in the 5th house. Hobbies, doing things that you love to do. Going to the theater, or you being in a play of the theater, for instance. It's a very enjoyable energy, very creative energy as well, very fiery energy. I love this for you. So enjoy November. November is pretty good for you. Absolutely. And of course, this Mercury retrograde is in Sagittarius. That is also trining your energy. So for you, this retrograde is not that bad. Not at all. Taurians, this is happening in your 8th house. So this is a very deep house. So that means your thoughts about serious topics like life and death. But on another level, it can also mean the property that you share with someone else, the resources that you share with another person, the finances that you share with business partner or a romantic partner. There's something there that needs to be revisited. A belief system was wrong, or you want to have a look at it to see it in a new perspective. Can also be inheritances. It can also mean tax return. So it's really a house of assets, and you Taurus people, you find that very, very important. So there's going to be some belief systems that are wrong or that you don't like about the money that you share with another person, and you want to revisit that. Some serious conversation that need to be done as well. Mars in your third house opposing Pluto. So again, a very mental house, you could say, here. That means your words can really transform others, and others can transform you with their words. So it could also mean some struggles, some power struggles with siblings, with neighbors. But on another level, it's a lot of activity. It's a lot of, if you have your own business, for instance, you could redo your PR and make it more powerful and to make it more real and authentic. You could do short trips that is life transforming for better or for worse. And that shifts on the 5th of November in your fourth house. So for you, this is a bit stressful for you, Mars and Leo in the fourth house, because it makes a square to your sign. But for you, this is all about making changes at the home. This can be literally that you're going to renovate or doing things different to make it more, a beautiful home. But on another level, it can also mean working from home or having struggles with family members, when it comes to the ego. But all in all, it's a lot about pushing through your belief systems about very important topics in life. Geminis, this Mercury retrograde is, of course, super important because you're Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury, and it's in your seventh house. So you're thinking your belief system around relationships. So whether you are in one or whether you are single, there's something about a belief system of like I said, the example in the beginning, in the intro, what you believe makes your reality. Where is the belief system that is not working for you and that you need to revisit, to shift, and to turn around in order for you to have a better life, in order for you to have a life that is authentic for you. So a lot about, yes, lovers that can come back. That's typical with Mercury retrograde in the seventh house. Again, as I always say, if you don't like that person, you just shut the door. You shut the door. You don't let them in. Not saying je t'adore, but shut the door. Anyway, Mars is in your second house for the first week, opposing Pluto. So power struggles you could have with someone else, a lover, a business partner, some power struggles around money, around what you value, what they value. And then from the 5th of November and onwards, Mars is in your third house, which is kind of enjoyable for you because that sextiles your energy. And that is a lot about maybe you're making a trip, a short trip, being very active on a social level. You could be more active with siblings. You could be more active with neighbors. You could be more active with your PR if you have your own business and just doing a lot of writing and websites and whatnot. So very busy socially as well. Important month for you, so make sure that you have the right intention when it comes to your relationships. Cancerians, this Mercury retrograde is in your sixth house. So it's a good time for you to rethink your belief system around your daily routines. So that includes work, your day-to-day work, and also your health. So there are belief systems that are not correct that you have a good time now for investigating and to ask yourself, is this the best belief system? Where is it that I need to shift this and do this different? So for some of you, this will relate to shifts in work, shifts in your routines, and in your health regimes. But of course, the Mars retrograde, the Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto the first week is the most important one. So you're going to be fired up that first week. Remember, watch the Mars retrograde in Cancer for sure. So you're going to be wanting to defend yourself more, but remember that other person is also very strong. you're both strong, and you want to pick out your fights in a very clever way. But again, everything that has to do with manipulation, with control, that stems from fear, you have a chance here to clear that up. And then Mars goes in the second house from the 5th of November and onwards. And that has to do more with your money. So it's a good time for you to hustle for the money, to be active, to earn money. There could be new ways that you're finding to work on your self-esteem as well. So because of the consequences of that Mars opposite Pluto, you could have to work a little bit harder on your self-esteem. Then Leos, the 5th house where Mercury is. This is for you rather a nice Mercury retrograde. Why? Because Leo is a fellow fire sign. So that is always easier, but it's in your 5th house. So all those topics, your belief system around children, around love, the way you think about love, around lovers or a lover, all these topics, they can be revisited. Your attitude towards love. Is it still okay? Is it still, maybe you say, I'm not worthy of love. Or maybe you say, I demand love. Those belief systems, are they correct? Investigate them. It's also about your hobbies, the things that you do to enjoy yourself. Reinvestigate them. Maybe you're going to do once that Mercury goes direct again, which is, when is it going direct again? On the 16th of December. Maybe you're going to do a new hobby, or a different hobby that you already, or a hobby that you already did in the past when you were younger, and you're picking it up again, that kind of energy. Mars in the 12th house, opposing Pluto for you, so that's quite a challenging one, the first week that is. So watch out that, that video of Mars in retrograde, but also Mars opposite Pluto for you. And that is the 12th house, the unconscious. So you could battle, this is good energy to battle an addiction, to once and for all get rid of that. On a lower level, it's very self-destructive. So be aware of it, that you're not going to fall into self-pity and whatnot. Then it goes into your sign, dear Leos, Mars in your sign. That is nice, the 5th of November and onwards. So this is about starting new project and so on. And you will see that you have new ideas. You have new things that you want to start in your life, because the first house is your path. It can also mean in relationships, you're going to be more like, hey, this is the line, no more. I say no. But you're going to revisit that as well in December. We'll talk about that later on. Virgos, this is in your ruler in the 4th house, going backwards and forwards. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to the home. Literally, you could be thinking about a belief system. Maybe you always said, I'm going to live in this house for the rest of my life. Maybe revisit that belief system. Maybe you want to go to somewhere else, and so on. So the belief system around home, house, but also around, on a deeper level, around your emotional state, around what nurtures you on a level of I'm nurturing myself, kind of a parental level. Could also mean communications with a parent changes. There are some changes there, there could be some challenges going on with a parent, and it's actually to clear that up. Excuse me. And but Mercury in the 4th house, it can also mean when you are living, for instance, in another country, then you were, you were born in another country, you live in another country, that you go back to that, to revisit it. It can be as simple as that as well. Then Mars in your 11th house opposing Pluto, there could be in the first week with some friends, some ego struggles there going on. So there could be things that certainly go back to that video of Mars, the two videos before this video, Mars in Pluto and Mars in Cancer, because this can be about power struggles with friends. So don't overpower friends. Don't let yourself be overpowered by them. Don't try to manipulate, and make sure that they are not doing it. Say, no, this is it. It can also mean a certain goal that you always wanted to do, and now you kind of mobilize everything to reach that goal. And then it shifts into your 12th house, Mars in the 12th house, as from the 5th of November. And that can be you investigating something, you going deep into something. Mars in the 12th house is also being very busy in a private way, whatever that is for you. You could do a lot for charity. I've seen that a lot with Virgos and having Mars in the 12th house. You could be doing things, preparing in advance, but you're not telling anyone. Maybe you're preparing for a new job or whatever it is for you. So a lot of secret energy of your actions. People are not going to see that. But that's, I hope, I'm not judging here, but let's hope it's for a good cause. Librans, this is happening, the Mercury retrograde in your 3rd house, but it's sextiling your energy. Now, typically for a Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house, it's about losing keys and it's about computers. And so make backups of computers and phones and files and whatnot, pictures. But on another level, because it's the house of communication, it can mean a lot of communication, a lot of going backwards, forwards, deals. If you have your own business, it can mean like you are going to change your website, your PR, or you're going to do more, you're going to do less, all of that. Short trips, you're going back to countries that you already visited. So short trips that you're going to do. Going backwards and forwards with relationships of siblings. So that could be our neighbors. That could be also, some serious conversation that are taking place. So a very busy month for you for sure. Mars, the first week opposing Pluto in the 10th house. So a lot of power struggles could be happening when it comes to your work. There could be you wanting to launch something at work that demands a lot of energy. So it's good for that for sure. But whatever it is, check out the Mars-Pluto for sure, the video, and Mars in Cancer as well. It can help you out in how to tackle that energy. But all in all, it's about no manipulation in the workplace, you not manipulating others, and certainly bosses not manipulating you because it's gonna backfire. And then it shifts into the 11th house for you in Leo, which is nice for you, Mars there, as from the 5th of November and onwards, because that means a lot of energy in a very social house. So you could be having lots of fun and be actively doing a lot with your friends, going on a hike with your friends, going on, to the theater with your friends, and you being like some sort of a leader there. Or you could lead associations, groups, or you taking really actions towards your goals that you want. Hello, dear Scorpio, something went wrong. This is a different scenery because something went wrong with the former recording, but that's okay. I'm just redoing it. I want to do it right, just like a true Scorpio would do, right? So what about November for Scorpios? For Scorpio, there we have the Mercury retrograde, of course, in your 2nd house. Mercury retrograde in the 2nd house. It's not a big deal. It's not to say that it is life-threatening or things like that, or your life is going to be put upside down. But what it does say is that it is a good time. You don't have to. I mean, you can make use of this energy, but you don't have to. But Mercury in the 2nd house, it's a good time to rethink your belief system around money. There is a lot to find on the internet around belief systems and money, because we kind of more and more understand that it all starts with the belief system around money to grow the money. So if you're saying, I'm in a situation where I don't have enough money or I don't earn enough money, this is your time. Why? Mercury retrograde in the 2nd, first it's going to challenge you even more. So you could be dealing with things like that is really showing you in the face that your financial situation needs to be reviewed. So it's a good time for you to do so, to think about it. And the actions to change it is at its best when Mercury goes direct, which is around the 16th of December. Was it the 16th of December? I'm double checking here. Yes. So great. If you want to improve your finances, do it now. Have a different belief system. So if for instance, I give you an example. If you're saying, I don't attract enough money, or every time the money comes in, it's always, the bills are paid and it's all out. It is very important now to look at your belief system. What do you believe? Do you believe that money is dirty? Do you believe that money is not for you? Do you check out that and reassess your belief system and into a better one for you? Because this is a proof that money and also the confidence, because astrology is so unbelievable, isn't it? Because the second house, they associate that with money, but also with your belief, with your confidence. So there is also things, not only the money side, but also around your confidence, that is not how it should be anymore. So review that as well. What is your belief system about yourself, about your own values? Maybe you need to review it. Do you still think that your competences to do a certain job is still good? Maybe it's not. Or maybe the other way around, you think you don't have the competence and you do. Things like that are very, very important now to review that. So that's going to be key for you. Another thing is what you eat is also the second house. So you could be reviewing what you're eating and your higher self, so to speak, because this is Sagittarius after all, to see that in a different light, and you want to improve the things that you eat and you put into your body. Now, Mars will oppose Pluto in the 8th house, right? In the 9th house. So Mars is the first week of the month. It's going to be in your 9th house in a fellow water sign, but it's going to oppose Pluto. Again, belief system. The 9th house is a belief system. So you could be quarreling or discussing with another person around your belief system. This could also mean legal, the legal side of stuff. But the thing is not to fall into power struggles, not to get fooled, because Mars is your ancient ruler, to pick out your battles wisely and to follow your integrity. Because if not, if you're trying to get your right, so to speak, just because of your will, and it's not coming from a good place, so it's coming from control, manipulation, it's not going to work out. The same if other people are trying to do that for you, so you will have to mobilize your energy to stand up for your opinion. And then from the 5th of November and onwards, Mars will be in your 10th house, which is for you very important because it's about your work, your career. And if you're not working, it's about how you want to be seen in the world, your social status, your social, how you want to deliver your energy in this world, and also your connection with parents. So that could be there a struggle, Mars, in the beginning, but because in December it's going to go backwards there in that house. But it's about redoing something and doing something in a new way that takes a lot of time. Not necessarily redoing something, but doing something that demands a lot of effort. That could be a new job for you. And now you start planning and you start acting on it. It could be also that you're going to change jobs, that you're going to change your attitude when it comes to a job. And also, it can mean that Mars in the 10th house, your social status changes. So like being divorced to getting married again, or the other way around. So pretty important, but it's going to become even more important in December when this goes retrograde. But that is for later on. So put your effort into career, because now it is a good time to renew it, to do new things that are very much matching your identity, because it's in Leo. Anyway, that's for Mars in the 10th house for Scorpio. Sagittarians, this is of course the retrograde in your house, watch the whole intro. It's for you. It's for you. This Mercury retrograde. This is about your life. This is about how you profile yourself, how you speak. And there is something about you that is not you anymore. And that has changed. Big shifts for you internally, and you're going to show it. And definitely after this Mercury retrograde, which is, when this Mercury goes direct, was it the beginning of December? It was on the 16th of December. People are going to see you in a new way because you will be renewed. So beliefs that you have about yourself might not be correct, or at least investigate them. You're a Sagittarian. You are interested in that. So for you, it will not be too difficult. But remember, this is squaring up Saturn in your fourth and opposing Jupiter in your seventh. So other people will definitely get into discussion with you. But the most important thing is that you follow your integrity, that you investigate you, that you go on that inner level, and that you know why you want to make those changes. And when you believe those things, everyone else will follow. For sure. I mean, not everyone else, but I mean, your outer world will reflect that. So very, very important retrograde for you, for sure. Definitely, if you have planets around 22 degrees of Sagittarius, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that something is changing. And it's a good thing. You're going to feel that the limelight is on you, and that a part of you, a mental part of you, is not the same anymore. You have outgrown this belief system. It's important for you to thank that belief system of the past. Let's say you always had the belief you can't trust anyone, can't trust anyone. And now you're starting to believe, hey, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have to be like, being against all those big people like parents or siblings or whatnot. But you're seeing this in a new perspective, and you're more trustworthy and trusting what happens in nature. This book here, The Power of Nature, notebook. And because of that, you shift your mindset, and it's going to show you that the world is going to seem different after the 16th of December. For sure. I love this transit for you. Mars in your 8th house opposing Pluto the first week is a bit tense. It is in a hidden house. It's the 8th house of life and death. It's quite serious. It's powers. It's already the house of power struggles, having Mars opposing Pluto. So there could be some power struggles around 8th house stuff. So inheritances. There could be also power struggles around the things that you own. If you are with a partner, a business partner, a romantic partner, around assets. And not necessarily in a bad way, but there could be some friction there the first week. Actions that you need to take around real estate, for instance, because this is in Cancer after all, in the 8th house. So there could be some topics coming up where you have to act very much with full of integrity, not out of fear, and but full of authenticity. And on another level, this is deep psychological stuff because you are battling your fears. The 8th house is the house of trauma. It's the house of imaginative fears as well. And you could be really tackling that. And that is going through the barrier of fear. And that is very, very interesting for sure, to get your power back, to meet your shadow and getting your power back. I talk about this in the Mars-Pluto video and a Mars in Cancer video. It shifts then into your 9th house, which is your house. So on the 5th of November, Mars shifts into your house, which is amazing. It's good to travel. As from the 5th of November and the end of the month, yes, I know the Mercury retrograde is there at the end of the month on the 27th of the month of November. But the thing is that retrogrades often, and especially in your sign, and then that Mars there in the 9th could have to do with you actively, you travel and you kind of do something. you work there, for instance, or you are very active whilst you are traveling, studying, and seeing the bigger picture. So Mars in the ninth is also doing lots of activities like I'm doing here. I have natally my Mars in the ninth house. And so that is doing, teaching and working on people's, coaching people. You could be doing that for yourself, for others, and you could be interested in the ninth house and actively doing something with it, like studying and then applying it, like going to cultural events, working with people from all over. It's a very international house, working with on your relationship with the divine, basically. Very beautiful. Capricorns, this retrograde is in your 12th house. This is a bit like, ooh, what's going on? When Mercury goes retrograde in the 12th house, you don't know it all. You don't know it anymore. It's like in the song, Je sais que je ne sais rien de Jean Gabin. But anyway, it is, it's actually a little bit more for you you could be studying something deep. That's a good energy then. But you could also be rethinking that house of the unconscious, the subconscious, to work on through, for instance, dream analyzing, or so to get more in touch with your subconscious, to know those belief systems better that you don't even know that you believe them. That kind of energy. There's a lot of psychological understanding there. It's a karmic house. So there could be things coming up that you're thinking about and that you don't want to talk about because it's so private. But that's a good thing, that it's about, challenging that and reviewing that for sure. Mars in your 7th house, especially the first week for you is going to be a bit tricky when it comes to power struggles. I mean, Mars is in your 7th house, but Pluto is in your house. So it's like tough against tough. So watch out what I said in the Mars Pluto video and the Mars in Cancer video about power struggles. Choose them wisely because your opponent is strong, but you're strong as well. Actually, you have it more in control here because of Pluto in your sign, but know that it can backfire if you're doing it the wrong way with the intention of manipulating. If not, you will definitely transform into a better version of yourself. Then the second week, as from the 5th of November and onwards, Mars will be in your 8th house. That is very, very deep. And that is more about actively being, Mars in the 8th house it's a secret house. So you could be doing things in secret. But in a good way, it can mean that you're going to do so. And of course, this is going retrograde in December. So there could be stuff that needs to be actively you involved with around inheritances, around tax returns, around money that you invest or have invested with someone else. So the belongings you have with another person, a business partner, or a romantic partner. On another level, it's deep psychological transformation, you battling your fears, your shadow side, the shadow side of your actions, which is that manipulation, trying to control others, or being too much controlled. It's about taking your power back, which is a beautiful thing. Aquarians, this Mercury retrograde is in your 11th house. This is a sextile for you, but so it's not that, it's quite a good energy, but the retrograde more emphasizes friends that are coming back into your life and you're having some conversations with them that can be serious on one side but very expansive on the other. Remember the Saturn-Jupiter square. It can also mean that you are revisiting a belief system about a friend or a friend group. You could be rethinking, will I still stay on Instagram or stay on Facebook? That kind of questions, the 11th house is groups of people. You could be rethinking also a goal that you had and that you were very firmly, a bit rigidly focused on. You are rethinking it now. It's a good time to do that. Re-questioning, is this still a goal that is good for me and others involved? Very Sagittarian kind of philosophical question that you're asking. So your goals for the future, how does my future look like? It's a future house, the 11th house. It's your house, the Aquarian's house. Then the first week, Mars opposite Pluto in your 6th house. So there could be some challenge coming up here in work and in health. It's about you want to change that and you want to take actions. Absolutely, but it's going to have big consequences, right? So if you're saying like, this job that I'm in, it's not authentic, when you make a decision, there's no way back. It's that kind of energy. But when you do, it's very good energy to make those transformative life changes. Also actions that you really want to do to improve your routines for your health are very important during this month. Then Mars shifts into your 7th house on the 5th of November and stays there for the rest of the month. So relationships, it's a very active relationship kind of month for you. So you could be meeting new people, definitely when you're single, this is very fiery energy for sure. You could be meeting someone who's very Mars-like, who's very and in Leo, who's very strong and assertive and handsome or beautiful when it's a lady. So you could be meeting new people. Be active with others is really important here. So reach out for others. Absolutely this month. It's not a month to be home and just be by yourself and reach out and do things with other people. And if there are quarrels and discussions, see from their perspective, because Mars in the 7th house means that they have, some strength there to consider, right? If you have customers, for instance, or you're working with clients, Mars in the 7th can mean that they're demanding a lot, but what about this? And they're mailing you, okay, thank you for the service, but what about this? And it's best to kind of, of course, not being a doormat, but consider that, because they have a point. That's basically it. Work with them. It's like Mars and Libra. Work with the other. Pisceans, last but not least, Mercury retrograde in your 10th house. So that's work. For a lot of you, that's career. Thinking about your career, rethinking it is a good time. So lots of Pisceans around the 16th of December and onwards, they will have the plan to change their career for sure. But also belief systems about work, and if you don't work, about how people see you in life, how you want to show up in society. What are you doing there? These things to revisit that. It can also mean a connection with a parent, that there are changes, that there are serious conversations to be made there, so that it's more, you could say, a healthy relationship and a connection that can be strengthened here. But in the beginning, it can mean a little bit more challenges with the parent, for sure. Mars in your 5th house, the first week, Mars opposite Pluto, that could be, some tension with lovers, some tension with children, some tension with how you enjoy yourself. So, and it's Mars in the 5th house can mean your children are a bit more martial. They want to fight. They are a bit more stamping with their feet on the ground. But it's in, you could say, in a water sign, so it trines your energy. It will not be that bad, but you know how to deal with that and how to connect with that. On another level, it's lovers, so power struggles with lovers, what you want to do, what maybe versus friends of people, or there might be a friend that is a bit too claiming you, or the other way around, you claiming a friend too much. Whatever this is, this toxic energy, because we should not do claiming on people. This is to be, to be put aside and to clear that up. It can also mean like a goal in your life. It kind of, you want to do like a new business and you're afraid of that, and you want to start a business, you want to start a hobby, you're afraid of it for some reason, and you're going to do it anyway. You can use that energy the first week. And then from the 5th of November and onwards, this Mars goes into your 6th house, which is all about putting energy into the 6th house, which is work, which is day-to-day routines, which is health. So you're going to feel that a lot of November is a good time to become more efficient in your work, to become more, to have more, because it's in Leo, to express yourself in a better way when it comes to your work. So if you want to change your job, for instance, there you could be starting here with making plans, with actively being busy with, writing letters and whatnot, in order for you to be able to change your job when Mars goes direct. But that's later on next year, because Mars is going to go retrograde in that house for you. But we'll talk about that later on. But definitely a lot of work as well. That could be like you're having a lot of work in November if you do work. And you could be going, just being a little bit more active in your lifestyle. You can also do a lot more to improve your lifestyle. Mars in the 6th house is fixing problems and doing this and that so that your lifestyle improves. And that gives you a better feeling of your identity as well. Anyway, having said that, thank you so much for watching. Comment down below, like, subscribe, order a reading if you want to. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.